So we're more than halfway through our summer road trip of visiting the national parks, seeing the scriptures come alive in living, breathing color, seeing how God has connected his beautiful creation with the words that he inspired the writers to put down and for us to read. It's been a beautiful road trip so far. And today we're heading east. We're heading into Kentucky, state just south of us, and we're going to Mammoth Cave. Now, Mammoth Cave is, in fact, really, really big. You might even say mammoth. It has over 400 miles of cave underneath land that is filled with water bodies and mountains and all other sorts of land features. The Native Americans in that region of the United States consider this cave sacred. It was a burial ground for them. It's also not just a national park, it's a World Heritage Site. And some of the things that you would find in this cave, you would never imagine could be there, including a cavern in it that has a ceiling 192 feet tall. And as you go down into this cave, you will see that they have strung electric lights in it so that you can see where you're going underground. But the earliest folks who investigated this cave all the way back in 1816, they didn't have electric lights, they had candles. And if you ever go on a tour of it, the ranger will turn off the electric lights when you're in there, and he'll light a single candle and say, could you imagine what it would be like to explore this cave in the early days? Now, if you imagine just a single candle being lit, you could see generally in front of you and maybe a little behind you, but you wouldn't be able to see that much. But what would it be like if instead of just one candle, there was a whole gaggle of other people with you, each having their own candles? Something to think about. And today in our scripture from the Gospel of Matthew, we hear Jesus say to those who are following him, you are the light of the world and you are the salt of the earth. You are the light of the world. You are the salt of the earth. Phrases that have become almost mundane to us as Christians. They're churchy. Great, Jesus, I'm the light of the world. That's a really nice thing to say. Moving on. But have we ever thought about what that really, really means? And so I had to do a little bit of research on this because I had no idea how you salted meat. So back before refrigerators, those marvelous modern inventions, if a man went out and he killed an animal and he brought the meat home for his family, 99.9% of the time, they would not be able to eat all of it at once. And so in order to preserve it, in order to keep it so that it could be eaten later on, the woman or the wife would have to salt the meat in order to delay the decomposition, in order to make it safe to be eaten later. And when I first thought, okay, we're going to salt the meat, we're going to do it like a good dry rub down in the great state of Texas, right? For a barbecue, you just rub it on in. No, it's not how it works at all. I was shocked. In fact, in order to salt meat, you have to have a container of salt, a large amount so that you can bury the meat deep in the salt, cover it over, and just to be extra special sure, you have to put salt on top. When you're salting meat, it's not a little dab will do you, but you need a whole lot. You have to envelop it. You can't get away with doing the bare minimum. You have to bring a whole lot together. And if we think about what Jesus said of saying, you are the light of the world. Well, again, if you light one candle, in a dark room, you might be able to see a little bit in front of you, a little bit behind you. If you've ever been in your house when the power's gone out and you light a single candle, you might be able to walk around and keep yourself from bumping into things. But in order to truly see the whole space around you, you have to light a whole bunch of candles. Or maybe you turn on a lantern or a whole bunch of flashlights. You have to bring together a lot of light in order to light up a space. And so if we think about the fact that you need a whole lot of salt and a whole lot of light to really make a massive impact, what does that say to us about what Jesus is telling us? Think about it. You are the light of the world. You individually are each your own lights. You go out into the world, and yes, when you go out into the world, you can do a little. Each of us can do a little. And each little impact, it does make a little impact. So don't let me tell you that it doesn't. But what would happen if each of our individual lights came together out in the world? We'd light up the whole space. We'd light up and make not just a little impact, but a mammoth impact. Because when Jesus says, you are the light of the world, a city on top of a hill, he's not just saying to the people there, each of you is a light, but he is saying to the group, you all are a light. A city on top of a hill, a city that could be seen from all around with all of the lights lit. Think about it this way. If you imagine going into a manufacturing facility, you have all of these conveyor belts and all of these different parts to the machinery. And as this factory is working and moving and grooving, different things are being made. But what happens if one piece of machinery goes wrong? What happens if one cog falls out? If one piece of the conveyor belt breaks? It all shuts down. Each of you is a necessary part of the whole group. If one of you goes missing, the whole group knows. You make that impact within the group, but the impact that the group makes is even bigger. And so the question we have to think about today is, how are we as the church making an impact in the world? How are we taking each our individual lights out into the world and making it so that the folks out there can see what has lit us up in here? How do we see the gospel go not just from one person, but from all of us? How do we allow what Jesus did when he died on the cross and rose from the grave make a difference around the globe, in our communities, and even in our families? You, my friends, are the light of the world. You are the light that Christ puts on a lampstand. You are the light that, when brought together, illumines so very much. So how are we as a church going to be that light that illumines a great amount? And if we think back to where we started at Mammoth Cave, if you brought together all of those people inside on that great darkness, it would illuminate the whole space that you were in. My friends, it feels very dark in the world on some days, and you have been called by God to go out and to be that light, not just alone, but together, and to show people what is around them and what is given for them.